So it's time for us to cover the love Hashira Mitsuri Kanroji, and today I'll be doing a little bit of a different type of video, so stay tuned for that. Mitsuri Kanroji is the love Hashira, and she is one of the supporting Hashiras in the Swordsmith Village arc. For this video, we will be looking into the life and times of Mitsuri Kanroji, as well as her abilities and her breathing styles and forms. Mitsuri Kanroji, the love Hashira, is unique amongst Hashiras, especially when it comes on to her backstory. You see, Mitsuri was born with abnormal muscles and an incredibly unique constitution. This allowed her to lift objects or people 10 times heavier than herself. As a baby, she could lift a rock, which the best comparison for this would be like an ant lifting an elephant. This rock would have been about 33 kilograms, and like I said, that's a lot for a child. Growing up, Mitsuri wasn't very happy. You see, everyone around her was finding love, but she started finding it difficult, as most of the men who would be around her would be terrified of her. On top of that, she didn't eat normally like all the other girls, nor did she look like an average girl. She had pink hair and she ate as much as 3 sumo wrestlers. So Mitsuri decided to conform to societal means. She started wearing traditional hayori and she dyed her hair black. One day, she saw the gravity of the situation and she realized that she really didn't want to be this unhappy person for the rest of her life. And her partner shared the same sentiments. In his own words, no one would marry a cow like her. So she left. Somewhere along the lines, she met Kagaya Ubuyashiki, who allowed her to join the Demon Slayer Corps. She was told at the time that she could have any dream that she wanted and she could dress any way she needed. So she decided to join the Demon Slayer Corps and, of course, look for a husband, a man that would be much stronger than her, since the Demon Slayer Corps is filled with many strong demon slayers. It was the Rengoku family that took her in and started training her in breathing styles. However, it was supposed to be the previous Flame Hashira that taught her, but instead it was his son Kyojuro Rengoku. You see, the Flame Hashira before Kyojuro had lost his wife and his will to fight, so he became a drunkard and gave up on his duties of being the Flame Hashira. Now the position was empty, and so Kyojuro and Mitsuri trained hard. But there was a problem. Mitsuri didn't show any promise with flame breathing. She found it very hard to produce the necessary style. Even though she could do the forms, she could never really connect with her flame spirit. Instead, she was just going through the motions, and she was a bit slow on the uphead. But Kyojuro never gave up on her. In fact, he kept pushing her to be her best. Now, somewhere along the lines, Kyojuro decided it was time for him to take up his father's mantle and become the next Flame Hashira. During the meeting of the Hashiras, to prove himself, he had taken up the next mission to go out for a demon on his own. Of course, Sanemi didn't believe that he could do it on his own, but Kyojuro set out just the same. And wouldn't you know it, he would face off with the current number 2 demon, Hairo, who had a penchant for torturing his victims as well as blowing his own head off. You see, Hairo actually had a score to settle with Kyojiro's father, though he couldn't tell the difference between Kyojiro and his father. So he settled for what he could get at the time. During the moments when Kyojiro was occupied with Hairo, it was left up to Mitsuri to protect the villagers. This was very hard at first. She was not confident in her techniques, and with Hairo's shadow dogs leaving bombs all over the city to explode at any moment and kill any number of people, she had her back against the wall until she remembered the words of Kyojiro. To be herself, it's not all about replicating the breathing forms that you see, but doing something that comes naturally to you. This would be the start of her own breathing style, Breath of Love. She used her own unique constitution, her flexibility, her strength, and her precision all played a part in not only her finally gaining the confidence she needed, but saving everyone around her. Later on, she decided to create a weapon perfectly suited to her breathing style. This would be her Love Whip. Unlike normal Nichirin blades that's solid, hers is supple and made out of a very strong material. So her sword acts like a whip, where she's able to not only attack but defend at the same time and hit multiple targets on the field. Soon after this, she became the Love Hashira, and she would maintain her goal to try and find someone strong enough to woo her heart. So next, we'll be looking at her abilities and her breathing forms. This part of the video was actually recorded sometime earlier, so pardon me if it sounds a little different, but let's jump right in. Starting off with her abilities. She may be cute, she may be pink, but she'll rip away those arms faster than you think. With the reflexes of a cat and hair like cotton candy. I'm pretty sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that's why she's got Iguru's fancy. And I've really wanted to talk about her for a really long time. Let's look at her overall abilities. Now, as a Hashira, her power is nothing to be laughed at. I know you guys have some issues with overly emotional girls with pink hair being weak and annoying. Well, not Mitsuri. She is noted to have completed the final selection exam within 6 months. She also created her own breathing style, Breath of Love. So let's break down her abilities. Her Demon Slayer mark. Just like clockwork, Mitsuri was one of the first to get her own Demon Slayer mark. Close to her death in fighting against Hantengu's hatred clone, her mark manifests. It takes the form of two hearts upside down and opposite from each other with angel wings on both sides. It's on her neck, close to her clavicle. It's beautiful. I'm not gonna hide it. It's really good looking. Mitsuri's physical abilities, endurance, precision, and power increased dramatically. This actually allowed her to keep up with the demon during the fight because this hatred clone was nothing to be scoffed at. Enhanced flexibility. During Kyojiro's Gaiden, Mitsuri had a very hard time releasing her technique. Initially, she was taught flame breathing, but she was never too adept at it. But using the words of her teacher, she played to her own strength and showed how flexible she is. She has continued to show this superior flexibility throughout her fights. Enhanced strength. To say she's strong is an understatement. She's a titan, actually. Even at a very young age, she could lift up to 120 pounds. And literally, that's my weight. She could lift me with one hand. Wow. A little bit closer to real time, she's even been shown to be strong enough to rip off one of Muzan's creepy little tentacles with her bare hands. Now that is savage. Intense stamina and endurance. Now, despite her abilities, during her fight with Hantengu, she actually lasted longer than anyone else. Keeping up with the demon, she proved that she's no pushover. Immense speed and reflexes. Mitsuri's speed isn't as high as her fellow Hashira. In her fight against Muzan, she actually had a hard time keeping up with him, even with her speed boost. That said, she's not slow by any means, because in her fight with Hantengu, she shows that she was so fast she forced the demon to start using his demon blood art. Unique constitution. Though her limbs are slim, her muscle composition is actually 8 times higher than that of a regular human. This enables her to withstand powerful attacks. She does eat as much as 3 sumo wrestlers to maintain this temple that she calls a body though. Wow. Flame breathing. As said earlier, she isn't adept at flame breathing. She does know all the forms very well, and this is what actually allows her to develop her own unique breathing form, which is Breath of Love. I bet you're really loving this video. Here's a great way that you can support us. Like, share, and subscribe to get notified of when we post new content. To actually get notified, click on that notification bell. Now back to the video. Up next, we have the love breathing forms used by Mitsuri Kanroji. These forms are made specifically for her, much like Shinobu's own techniques. These forms allow her to deliver multiple powerful blows to her target while maintaining immense speed, agility, and flexibility. Due to her own body mass, this is easy for her. So let's look at her different forms. First form, Shivers of First Love. Aw, sounds cute. The user dashes forward with a series of extended whip slashes. Those wind around and through the target. Second form, Love Pangs. The user unleashes multiple powerful whip slashes around themselves. Third form, Cat Love Shower. The user leaps and unleashes a series of ranged attacks in quick succession. Fifth form, Swaying Love Wild Claw. The user somersaults backwards through the air, creating a long whip-like string of attacks. And sixth form, Cat-Legged Wings of Love. The user twirls upside down and creates multiple extending slashes before retracting it and extending it again, all within a very short period of time. So that's our video for today. If you haven't seen our look at the abilities and breathing forms for Kyojuro Rengoku, here's the video, and thank you again for joining me, V Nation. Peace out, stay safe out there.